Good day, future educators. Today, we're diving into another crucial theory of development, the psychosocial theory proposed by Erik Erikson. As we discussed in our previous lesson, Freud's psychosexual theory focused on how early experiences shape personality, primarily through biological drives and instincts. Now, we shift our lens towards Erikson's psychosocial theory, which expands on Freud's ideas but emphasizes the social and environmental aspects of development across the entire lifespan, from infancy to old age. Erikson's theory proposes that at each stage of life, individuals face a critical psychosocial challenge or crisis. Successfully resolving these crises leads to the development of key virtues, which shape a healthy personality. We'll explore how each stage contributes to a person's growth and how unresolved crises can create difficulties in later stages of life. Let's break it down, starting from infancy and working our way through to old age. Erikson's theory is composed of 8 stages, each marked by a specific conflict between two opposing forces. For instance, the first stage is about learning trust versus mistrust, which, as we'll see, begins at birth. As we progress through life, we encounter different challenges, whether it's establishing our identity during adolescence or developing intimacy in early adulthood. Each stage builds on the last, and if a crisis is not resolved, it can create difficulties in later stages. This theory is truly holistic because it doesn't stop at childhood, it encompasses the entirety of the human experience. Now, let's look at a quick overview of all 8 stages, from infancy to old age. Think of it like a roadmap for life, highlighting the different psychosocial tasks we face. From trust to autonomy, from identity to intimacy, these stages represent universal challenges we all experience. Stage 1, Trust versus Mistrust, birth to 1 year. In infancy, the primary question is, can I trust the world? This stage is heavily influenced by the baby's relationship with their caregivers. If caregivers provide consistent care, love, and meet the infant's needs, the child develops a sense of trust. Imagine a baby crying for food. When the parent responds reliably, the baby learns that the world is a safe place. On the other hand, neglect or inconsistency fosters mistrust, and the child may grow up being suspicious and fearful. As you can see here on our slide, if this stage is managed well, the child will develop a virtue of hope, a strong belief that, even when things are not going well, they will work out well in the end. Failing to acquire the virtue of hope will lead to the development of fear. If the care has been inconsistent, unpredictable, and unreliable, then the infant may develop a sense of mistrust, suspicion, and anxiety. In this situation, the infant will not have confidence in the world around them or in their abilities to influence events. Imagine this scenario. Let's think about a newborn whose parents respond to every cry with warmth and attention. This infant is more likely to develop the virtue of hope, a belief that even in difficult times, things will get better. If mistrust takes over, this child may grow up feeling anxious, always doubting if others will be there in times of need. Stage 2, Autonomy versus Shame and Doubt, 1 to 3 years. This stage is about toddlers gaining independence. The key question here is, can I do things by myself, or must I always rely on others? When parents encourage exploration and allow children to make small choices, like picking out their clothes or feeding themselves, the child develops a sense of autonomy. Imagine a child who is allowed to try, even if it means spilling food. They learn to say, I can do it. This builds both self-control and self-esteem. However, if parents are too controlling or criticize their efforts, children might develop shame and doubt. They'll hesitate, thinking, I'm not good enough or I can't do it. If the parents permit the child to explore and manipulate his or her environment, the child will develop a sense of autonomy or independence. The parents should not discourage or push the child. This way, the child will develop both self-control and self-esteem. If parents give children unrestricted freedom and no sense of limits, or if they try to help them do what they should learn to do for themselves, parents will give them the impression that they are not good for much and children will assume that things are too difficult to learn. This will lead children to shame and doubt. A delicate balance is required from the parent. They must try not to do everything for the child, but if the child fails at a particular task, they must not criticize the child for failures and accidents, particularly when toilet training. Reflect on this scenario. During toilet training, if parents are patient and supportive, the child will develop a sense of autonomy and pride in their accomplishments. If parents criticize or pressure the child harshly for accidents, shame may set in, and this could lead to self-doubt in later stages of life. If this stage is managed well, children will develop the virtue of willpower or determination. Can do will be their motto. Develop a sense of independence in many tasks. Stage 3, Initiative versus Guilt, 3 to 6 years. As says here on our slide, initiative means a positive response to the world's challenges, taking on responsibilities, learning new skills, and feeling purposeful. The child has the ability to organize activities around some goals. Parents can encourage initiative by encouraging children to try out their ideas. Thus, sense of initiative is developed. A parent has the responsibility, socially, to encourage the child to grow up. You're not a baby anymore. But if this process is done too harsh and too abruptly, the child learns to feel guilty about her feelings. At this stage, the child begins to take initiative, setting goals and tackling new challenges. Think about a child organizing a game with friends. The key question here is it okay for me to do, move, and act? When parents encourage this initiative, children feel confident and purposeful. However, if parents dismiss or ridicule their efforts, the child may develop a sense of guilt for even trying. Central to this stage is play, as it provides children with the opportunity to explore their interpersonal skills through initiating activities. It is at this stage that the child will begin to ask many questions as his thirst for knowledge grows. If the parents treat the child's questions as trivial, a nuisance or embarrassing or other aspects of their behavior as threatening, then the child may have feelings of guilt for being a nuisance. A scenario here might be a child who loves to play pretend and organize activities, but if their parent harshly criticizes their ideas, they might stop trying altogether, feeling as though their actions are always wrong. Stage 4, Industry versus Inferiority, 7 to 11 years. Children must dedicate themselves to education and learning social skills society requires them. Children must learn the feeling of success, whether in school, in playground, academic or social. Thus, children will develop a capacity for industry. If a child is allowed too little success, because of harsh teachers and rejecting peers, then she develop a sense of inferiority or incompetence. Additional sources of inferiority are racism, sexism, and other forms of discrimination. School-age children start developing their capacity for industry, that is, mastering skills, whether in academics, sports, or social activities. The question here is, can I make it in the world of people and things? Success leads to a feeling of competence, while repeated failure or harsh criticism can lead to feelings of inferiority. For example, a student who receives encouragement from teachers and peers will feel industrious, proud of their accomplishments. But a child who faces constant negative feedback, or worse, discrimination, might feel inadequate and withdraw. If this stage is managed well, the virtue of competence will be developed. Personal skills through initiating activities. Develop self-confidence and abilities when competent or sense of inferiority when not. Stage 5, Identity versus Role Confusion, 12 to 18 years. Identity means knowing who you are and how you fit into the rest of the society. It requires that you take all that you've learned about life and yourself and mold it into a unified self-image, one that your community finds meaningful. With this, a sense of identity is developed. But, without these, a role confusion will likely occur. Meaning, there is an uncertainty about one's place in society and in the world. Adolescents who are confronted by role confusion are suffering from identity crisis. Now, this stage is crucial for adolescents. The question is, who am I and where am I going? Adolescents must develop a strong sense of self, integrating all their experiences and beliefs into a coherent identity. Success leads to identity, but failure results in role confusion, or an identity crisis, where young people might feel lost or uncertain about their place in the world. Think of an adolescent trying different styles, hobbies, and friend groups to figure out where they fit. If they're supported in this exploration, they will develop fidelity, or the ability to remain true to themselves even in complex social environments. Without that support, they may struggle with confusion about who they are. Also, here's another example: adolescents often experiment with their appearance, hobbies, or friend groups. If this exploration is encouraged, they feel secure in their identity, leading to fidelity, or loyalty to themselves. But if criticized, they might struggle with self-doubt and confusion. If this stage is managed well, virtue of fidelity will be developed. Fidelity means loyalty, ability to live by society's standards despite imperfections, incompleteness, and inconsistencies. Stage 6, Intimacy versus Isolation, 19 to 29 years. Intimacy is the ability to be close to others, as a lover, or friend, and as a member of society. Because a person has a clear sense of who she is no longer need to fear of losing himself/herself, as many adolescents do. Intimacy is developed. The fear of commitment some people seem to exhibit as if there is something holding them back, may lead to isolation. In early adulthood, we seek intimacy, deep connections with others, whether romantic, friendly, or societal. The question here is, can I love and be loved? If we've developed a strong sense of identity, we're likely to form healthy relationships. But if we're unsure of ourselves, we may struggle to connect, leading to isolation. For example, a young adult confident in their identity can form close bonds, cultivating love and intimacy. Those who feel insecure might keep others at a distance, fearing vulnerability and ending up isolated. If this stage is managed well, the virtue of love will exist. Love, in the context of this theory, means putting aside differences and antagonisms. It also includes not only in love in a good marriage, but also love between friends and neighbors as well. Establish intimacy and relationships with others. Stage 7, Generativity versus Stagnation, 30 to 64 years. In middle adulthood, people often focus on contributing to future generations. Here, the question is, how can I contribute to the world? If individuals find ways to give back, whether through raising children, working, or community involvement, they develop generativity. Without this, they may feel stagnant, unfulfilled, or overly focused on themselves. Generativity is an extension of love into the future. It is a concern for the next generation and future generations. People at this stage are less selfish. They practice generativity by having and raising children. People would also do things like social activities that can contribute to the welfare of future generations, anything that satisfies the need to be needed. Generativity is developed. Stagnation, on the other hand, is self-absorption, caring for no one. The stagnant person stops to be a productive member of society. For example, a person actively involved in mentoring young people or community work finds purpose and fulfillment, which Erikson calls care. But those disconnected from these roles may feel empty and purposeless. If this stage is managed well, a virtue of care is developed. A person has a capacity to serve through the rest of her life. Contribute to society and be part of a family. Stage 8, Integrity versus Despair, 65 plus years. Finally, in late adulthood, individuals reflect on their lives. The question becomes, did I live a meaningful life? Those who can look back with satisfaction develop integrity, a sense of peace. Those who regret or focus on missed opportunities may feel despair. For example, an elderly person who finds peace in memories and past accomplishments feels wisdom, a kind of gentle acceptance. But one preoccupied with regrets may struggle with despair, feeling unfulfilled. In our slides here, EGO integrity means coming to terms with your life, and thereby coming to terms with the end of life. People in this stage look back and accept the course of events and the choices they made in their life as they lived it. If some older people become preoccupied with their failures, the bad decisions they made, and regrets that they don't have the time and energy to reverse them, despair will happen. If this stage is managed well, wisdom is developed. Person is somewhat gifted to be truly wise by their simple and gentle approach to life and death, by their generosity of spirit. Assess and make sense of life and meaning of contributions. Before I end this lesson, let's look at these following concepts. Healthy personality development. Each stage of Erikson's theory presents individuals with specific psychosocial challenges or crises that must be resolved for healthy personality development. Successfully resolving these challenges contributes to the formation of a well-adjusted and resilient personality. Sense of identity. Erikson emphasized the importance of developing a coherent sense of identity, which involves understanding oneself, one's values, beliefs, and goals. Accomplishing the identity crisis in adolescence, for example, leads to a clearer sense of identity and purpose, providing a foundation for making meaningful life choices. Adaptive coping skills. Resolving psychosocial crises at each stage of development helps individuals develop adaptive coping skills and strategies for managing stress, adversity, and life transitions. These skills enable individuals to effectively navigate challenges and setbacks throughout their lives. Healthy relationships. Erikson's theory emphasizes the importance of forming healthy relationships and connections with others. Successfully navigating the stages of development allows individuals to develop empathy, trust, and intimacy, fostering meaningful connections with family, friends, and romantic partners. Life satisfaction. Accomplishing the stages of development contributes to a sense of fulfillment and satisfaction in life. Individuals who have successfully resolved psychosocial crises tend to have higher levels of well-being, self-esteem, and life satisfaction, as they feel a sense of purpose and meaning in their lives. Resilience. Erikson's theory suggests that individuals who have successfully navigated earlier stages of development are better equipped to handle challenges and adversity later in life. They have a strong sense of identity, coping skills, and social support networks, which enhance their resilience in the face of life's difficulties. As we've seen, Erikson's stages provide us with a comprehensive framework for understanding human development. Each stage offers opportunities for growth, but it also presents risks if not navigated well. As future educators, it's essential to recognize the developmental challenges your students face, understand their struggles, and support them as they grow through these stages. In closing, remember that a healthy personality is built on the virtues acquired at each stage of development. From hope in infancy to wisdom in old age, Erikson's theory teaches us that life's challenges are continuous, but so is our capacity to grow and overcome them. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have any of you observed these stages in action, either in your own life or in the lives of others? How might this theory influence how you approach teaching and understanding your students? Thank you for watching and listening to our lesson. See you again on another video.